We need personal responsibility more than ever. The Stoics, over 2,000 years ago, figured out an operating framework for life. It's based on focusing on what you can control and accepting things outside of your control. This gets murky because people confuse the two. They think that if they yell at somebody enough or if they do certain things, that people will come to their side or they can affect a certain change. To an extent, you can do that. But generally, when you try to force things, it ends up backfiring. And this is where an ancient concept known as wu wei comes in, where it's actually action through inaction. A lot of times you can get result by letting things figure themselves out, like by not doing anything. A lot of times the best action is actually to not do anything, which is why the recent silence is violence crap is just that, is crap. But topic for another day. I want to talk to you today about what everybody needs, the individual. We need personal responsibility. People should not be out screaming at other people, yelling at other people, berating other people, trying to shame other people until they get their own shit in order. Seems obvious, right? The world, when a bunch of humans take responsibility for their own life, becomes a better place. Very quickly does it become a better place. It's also how we're going to stave off potential civil war, a further polarization of our society and our species in general. I hope so. My son is too. I hope we don't have to have a civil war or potentially World War III in his lifetime or ever. But if we keep doing what we're doing, if we keep letting the algorithms manipulate us, if we keep letting the politics and the big corporations and a few select people that control basically all the media manipulate us, tell us what to say, think, and feel, and then we go on social media and attack each other doing exactly what they want, if we don't stop that, we are headed for destruction. If you actually look through the epochs of human history, every time there's a big change, at least in this country, where there's been a change for the better, lots and lots and lots of people have died as a result. Lots and lots and lots of people have paid the price. Individuals wiped from the planet. And the freedoms that you and I enjoy today, one of them being freedom of speech, is built upon the backs of those humans that suffered before us. And then even just the 10,000 years before then, and all the technology we have, running water, the fact that we have electricity, all these things are the culmination of people that have come before. The next 50 to 100 years is going to be built on what happens now. And whether we make it devolve into armed conflict, or whether we find a place to meet in the middle so that we can work together, that's the big question. The way the internet's set up right now, by definition, leads people to dogma and to polarization. I think it's the greatest existential threat to our species that we've ever seen. And what you're seeing in the recent things that are going on right now with, and then now the Black Lives Matter movement, all these things that kind of, like 1 second popular, next second nobody's talking about it. Those cycles, those ups and downs, we've hit a tipping point with the media and with the powers that be, the elite. They've been able to figure out that they can literally create movements out of thin air by using a combination of Facebook ads, Google AdWords, bots that post certain things or that upvote them or uptick them or like them or whatever, fake accounts going left and right. They've figured out that they can do these things faster than ever before. Nazi Germany used propaganda. Today, there's propaganda. To think that we've evolved out of that, that's an illusion, right? Stronger than ever. And a lot of this propaganda is being fed from powers that be that want a certain thing to happen. They have a certain agenda. And the massive people that get all of their information and news and everything from this device or one of these devices are being played like puppets. So the call to action for this short video is you have to fight the dogma. You have to fight the bad ideas. And the most discerning thing that I'm seeing right now that's bothering me the most with all this is the good people are being silent in the wrong way. They're being silent by not calling out the hypocrisy of a lot of this. People didn't even want to challenge Verona nonsense. I got to say a certain word because the algorithm will pick that up. People aren't speaking up. They're not challenging bad ideas. They're afraid of retribution. They're afraid of being shamed or criticized or potentially fired, I guess. You know, these things are happening. This cancel culture nonsense is just latching on to different things. You couldn't criticize mask wearing or social distancing or any of these things. You would get shamed. People would berate you. People were even getting death threats for these things. And now, same thing's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement. You can't offer a conflicting point of view and it not be controversial. You can't say one thing about truth, right? About data, about facts, because if they don't like it or if they think you're insinuating something, they'll just attack you. That's the danger. This stuff is what's going to devolve and ruin our society and the freedoms that we take for granted. I've never been more compelled than ever to do this. I'm actually shifting a lot of my content to talk about these big ideas. I've always been interested in dogma and the human animal and understanding our evolutionary past so that we could better live today. And I've been doing that in my life with great effect, and I've been helping people do that for years now. I want to focus really on the mind because the things that we so easily succumb to. This us versus them, this put all these ideas in a box over here so I can know that this box is bad, and then the box that I have on this side is good, and then having nothing in the middle, no empathy, no sympathy, no tolerance, and just yelling and screaming, kicking and moving people to that box and moving them across that line so that they're against me and I'm good and they're bad. This is the thing that we have to fight. This is the thing that I've never felt more compelled in my life to be involved in and included in and to try to affect a positive change in. So the call to action for you, if any of this makes any sense to you, don't back down. Don't be silenced. You don't have to say and do what everyone is trying to tell you to say and do. No matter where you fall on the spectrum, speak your truth. Obviously, do it with tolerance. Do it with understanding and empathy. Use questions. Try to avoid accusing people of things, calling names, things like that. Don't do the things that they're doing. You got to be better than that. You have to speak objective truth, and you have to avoid getting emotional. Don't be afraid to challenge bad ideas. That's what we need. We have a civil war going on right now. It's been going on in politics for a while. The SJWs, the Democrats, Republicans, the left, the right, a lot of those things I don't even understand. Like when you tell me left, right, I don't really know what it means. I don't really want to know what it means. I never paid attention to politics. So what I'm interested in is truth, data, fact, common sense. And there's a lot of people that ignore those and that cherry pick and manipulate the truth and use things like fake news and actually don't do the research. They read a headline and then all of a sudden that's what they believe. They don't do their own research. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. You have to be one that does. And then you can focus on facts and data and be a calmer, level-headed, objective seeker of truth and a spreader and promoter of truth. That's what I want. That's what I'm here to do now. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to help people level up. I want to help them get out of their dogma. I want them to see clearly, focus on facts, challenge their beliefs, try to meet in the middle, try to have tolerance and empathy, build it, develop it. And then hopefully that can be a positive change. Maybe we can fight back this wave of intolerance and dogma. That's what it is. It's just so ironic that these same people that are out spewing hate and attacking people and trying to shame people into compliance and this and that and doing these things that make no sense, that are completely missing the mark, these people are just vying for power. They don't want change. And even the ones that think they're helping because they're hopping on that bandwagon, I'm not being specific here, but I think a lot of that is not placed in the right place. It's not in the right direction. It's not actually helping. It might be neutral. It might be a little bit of good here and there, but the way it's devolving and the way things aren't really getting in check, the way people are looting and vandalizing and they're kind of trying to hide behind the protest or the peaceful protest or like those type of things, and how people are not getting prosecuted for committing crimes. GoFundMe is canceling people that are trying to offer objective truth. They're funding criminals that take over a Sheraton hotel and they have a GoFundMe page. Someone like Candace Owens gets her GoFundMe campaign canceled. I don't even know why, because she just doesn't buy into the narrative or something. She challenges it. Ideas that challenge become better ideas. They evolve. And this idea that all these people are all right because there's some injustice in the world. Everybody is right and they're above reproach because there's some bad in the world. Or all police are bad because there's some bad situations or people that have made mistakes or whatever. Or someone's bad because they make a comment. Maybe it's not worded correctly or whatever. Or somebody's racist because of something they post online and you actually haven't done your research. This is how we destroy our society. It's how we will destroy freedom of speech. It's how we will divide, and it's how we will lead to destruction, to war. I hope that doesn't happen. I really do. But it's going to require collective effort. It really is. Do not be shamed into silence. Do not be shamed into saying things that you don't really believe or that are half-baked truths or aren't objective or whatever. Don't be shamed or manipulated or controlled into hopping on the bandwagon unless you have a really good reason to, and it's done with a balanced view of all of it. Don't be shamed into dogma. Don't fall into it, and avoid the screens that manipulate you and the algorithms that are built to serve you up things you want to see and push aside things you don't want to see, which leads to a fragile, dogmatic worldview that is the very problem of this polarization that we have in our culture today. We have to fight back. We have to be pro everyone, pro equality, which is what everyone's saying they want. But a lot of people don't want that. A lot of people either don't want that or they're going about it the wrong way. And they're both dangerous. The second one's more insidious because people think they're doing good, but they're not. What we need to do is focus on solutions, not problems. Yes, we know there's problems. Everybody agrees that there's problems. Everybody agrees that there are problems. But focusing on those problems doesn't do anything to fix it. In fact, you end up finding more problems and more problems and more problems. It's just never ending. focusing on solutions inherently is addressing the problem, because that's what a solution is. It's a solution to a problem. That's what we need right now. Solutions. Not just dogmatic, oh, the world's unfair and this, that, it's all bad. Yeah, world is. It's not perfect. It's not utopia. Nature itself is ruthless. Stop the dogma. Stop the shaming. Seek objective, balanced, nuanced truth, which is somewhere in the middle. You have extremes, and the truth of what's best is somewhere in here. The problem is the people that are trying to focus on the here are getting ridiculed and shamed, attacked, etc. That is what we need to protect.